I was designated as a child bride for Gu Zheng. On the day my true identity was unveiled, I failed to escape. Gu Zheng apprehended me and we were wed. That very night, he seized the nape of my neck and subjected me to relentless torment. Stop. I am an alpha. His excitement only intensified at my provocation. Brother, an alpha can bear offspring too, as long as I possess sufficient vigor. 1. I possess a striking beauty. The Gu family has concluded that I am destined to evolve into an omega, which is why they adopted me to serve as a child bride for Gu Zheng. When Gu Zheng was merely 10 years old, the Gu family faced a tragic upheaval, leaving him utterly alone. He clung to me, weeping pitifully, "Brother, you are all I have left. Please do not abandon me." He vowed, "I shall achieve great things in the future. When I grow up, I will marry you and cherish you forever." For Gu Zheng, I have endured countless hardships and earned any amount of money, solely to support his education. He promised that once he entered military school, he would mark me and marry me. Yet, when that day finally arrived, he had transformed into an extreme obsessive. I once indirectly inquired, "Gu Zheng, if I were an alpha, would you still harbor such a profound obsession with me?" He seemed to find the notion amusing, lightly caressing my neck with his fingertips. "If you were an alpha, I would extract your glands, transform you into an omega, and then mark you fiercely. You shall forever belong to me. Do not even think of leaving." While it sounded like a jest, an icy chill coursed through me, for I sensed that Gu Zheng was indeed capable of such actions. I could not fathom where my upbringing had gone awry. 2. After Gu Zheng was once more expelled due to brawling, I was filled with rage. The once weeping child who clung to me had transformed into someone unrecognizable. "Kneel," I commanded. He stood defiant, radiating stubbornness. My voice trembled with anger as I, in a fit of frustration, instinctively slapped his backside. He provocatively locked eyes with me, coolly stating, "Does your hand hurt?" I gazed up at him, yet saw no trace of fear in his expression. Once so soft and affectionate, he now bore an unbearable temper and an unyielding demeanor, stripped of all endearing qualities. My palm throbbed with pain. He had evolved into a formidable alpha, capable of overwhelming me with his pheromones. His wings had grown strong, and I could no longer rein him in. "Why did you engage in a fight?" I gripped his collar, my eyes red as I questioned him. "You neglect your studies and stir up trouble. Are you trying to drive me to madness?" With a look of disdain, he shrugged me off. "You have no right to meddle in my affairs." I collided painfully with the corner of the table, wincing in agony. "Do you have any idea how hard I've worked to fund your education?" He smirked derisively, his words laced with coldness. Brother, working to pay for someone to sleep with is indeed quite taxing." I raised my hand but could not bring myself to strike him again. 3. I remember when Gu Zheng first evolved. He was eager to experience my pheromones. However, he soon realized that he could only detect floral scents with no response. Likewise, I felt nothing towards him. In that moment, I deceived him, claiming that I had already been marked. Supporting Gu Zheng was not an easy feat. His inheritance was seized by his uncle through underhanded means. I am 6 years his senior, lacking any formal education, and unable to secure employment. I have resorted to various dubious activities to make ends meet, even serving as a lackey for a crime lord. I work multiple jobs each day. They are aware of my alpha status and do not permit me to engage in any activities that involve trading my body for money. Yet, Gu Zheng remains oblivious. All he knows is that I return home battered and bruised, often too exhausted to bandage my wounds, collapsing on the sofa instead. Perhaps witnessing my suffering daily has contributed to his obsessive behavior. He had become a powerful alpha, believing he could finally possess me, only to discover that I, his child bride, belonged to another. A lifetime mark? His voice trembled, and despite having speculated countless possibilities, hearing my acknowledgement was a painful blow for him. "Yes, a lifetime mark, many times over," I replied flatly, my heart aching profoundly. "Thus, Gu Zheng, it is impossible for us. You must seek a better omega, not me. My glands are damaged, my body tainted. You cannot mark me." To me, any excuse sufficed. Gu Zheng's obsession had spiraled into a pathological dependence. Even if I were an alpha, it would not dissuade him. The fact that I had been marked by another would surely evoke his disdain, compelling him to relinquish all hope for me. I had committed too many sins for the crime lord, my hands stained with blood. Regardless, I was irrevocably tainted. Gu Zheng, a stellar student at military academy, possessed a bright future ahead. I, however, was a parasite thriving in the shadows. One day, he would eradicate the darkness himself, and I found myself yearning for him to deliver my end, allowing me to become the first-class achievement of his career. 4. I gazed at Guzheng, whose features were marred by a deep-seated fury. Though he currently exhibited rebelliousness, defiance against authority, the fact that he could utter such insulting words towards me signified that he had successfully come to despise me. You think I am filthy, don't you? I managed a bitter smile. It seemed he had been triggered by something, gripping my wrist with a forceful hand, pinning it to the table, causing me pain throughout my body. Let go and leave me be. His complexion was frighteningly dark, ignoring my resistance as he began to unfasten my pants. I told you, my body is strong enough to cover a mark. Gu Zheng's smile was unsettling, his gaze sharp as a blade. Why are you so unwilling to allow me to try? Others can touch me, yet I am forbidden? He lunged towards my glands to bite. Panic surged within me as I pushed against him, trembling with fear. If Gu Zheng were to mark me now, he would discover that I had masqueraded as an Omega, deceiving him for all these years. At that moment, he would hate me, loathe me, or perhaps even extract my glands. My glands were already damaged, and it mattered not whether they were removed. Yet, I did not wish for Gu Zheng to act. Gu Zheng, if you touch me, I will end my life. He paused at my neck, his teeth grazing my glands without truly biting down. The atmosphere had grown heavier. Shin-mo, you are meant to be my wife, as you have always been. When I call you brother and heed your every word, it is out of love. Why do you? I lowered my gaze, observing Gu Zheng's rare display of vulnerability, yet my tone remained unyielding. You desire a wife who sells her body to support your education? His entire being tensed, the pain in his eyes unable to be concealed. It is my inadequacy. In the future, you can rely on me, and you will never need to. Gu Zheng. I forcefully pushed him away, my expression cold. The Gu family provides me with sustenance. I shall not be reduced to the streets. I undertake all of this to repay your parents' kindness. I have never harbored any romantic feelings for you, and I believed you understood that. Gu Zheng's hands trembled violently. He stubbornly released the pheromones that induce Omega heat. To appear sufficiently Omega-like, I spray perfume daily to mask the scent of my pheromones. The overpowering aroma of potent alpha pheromones filled the air. Were I an Omega, I would have long succumbed to his allure, clinging to him without reason. Yet I am an alpha. It is impossible for him to make me lose control through pheromones. My demeanor has hurt him deeply. He could still only detect the faint floral scent, my perfume. The air was thick with the fragrance of cold pine. I frowned. Gu Zheng, retract your pheromones. Do not disgust me. Marked Omegas reject the pheromones of other alphas. However, if the opposing party possesses a sufficiently high status, it will still exert an influence, driving Omega to the brink of madness. Gu Zheng's profound gaze appeared fractured. Lang Songxiang, feeling defeated, retreated. Who is your benefactor? I am already an S-class alpha. Could he possibly be stronger than I? Just as I thought he was finally ready to relent, Gu Zheng's expression suddenly transformed into one of extreme malice, as if he had become a different person. I will find him, he declared with a sinister smile. Brother, I shall flay him alive. 5. After the door slammed shut with a resounding bang, I belatedly realized the gravity of the situation and hurriedly pursued him. Yet, Gu Zheng had already departed in a vehicle. I had not anticipated such an outcome. If Gu Zheng truly acted out of provocation and caused harm to others, the military academy would undoubtedly expel him. Everything I did was to pave the way for his brighter future, to grant him a life utterly distinct from mine, a beautiful existence. Yet, it appeared that anything related to me could trigger Gu Zheng's distress. If I were to confess that I am an alpha, merely serving as a pawn for my benefactor's nefarious deeds, he would undoubtedly confront those desperate individuals without a second thought. With Gu Zheng's current capabilities, he could alter nothing. I had expended a significant sum to resolve his brawling incident, and now he was under observation. There must be no further provocations. I sent numerous messages, all falling into the void. Gu Zheng's figure remained elusive, and it was my superior who sought me out first. 6. Shen Montag. Recently there's a troublemaker who has injured several of our subordinates. I need you to handle it. I clenched my fists and replied softly, Boss, you promised not to make me take on these dirty jobs again. I'm not exactly a child anymore, I added, but the rest of my words caught in my throat as I was roughly seized by the neck and lifted. Before me stood a menacing face, a scar slicing across his brow. Shinemo, have I been too lenient with you? Your life belongs to me. You have no right to bargain. This face had haunted my nightmares countless times. I struggled to agree, which finally made him relent. Cough, cough. My chin was lifted, revealing his eyes glinting with murderous intent. Shinemo, I asked you whether you would be my partner or my dog. You chose this path yourself. If it weren't for the fact that you resemble someone I care for, I wouldn't even bother with you, nor would I provide you with the expensive transformation agents. You would have long since been a used-up Omega. He scoffed, wiping away the tears I had managed to stifle. You have 3 days. I want to see that boy's corpse. Otherwise, I will cut off your medication. My heart constricted. Although I had anticipated such a scenario, it still filled me with sorrow. I had hoped to spend more time with Gu Zheng. This boy's rebellious phase had come a bit late, and he had lacked affection since childhood. There was no way to ease one's mind regarding him. 7. In truth, I was supposed to have differentiated into an Omega. However, had that occurred, neither Gu Zheng nor I would have survived to this day. Thus, I sought refuge with Chuyu. Chuyu was notorious for his malfeasance and wielded considerable power. He promised to provide me with transformation agents, allowing me to become an alpha and his most obedient dog, his very own blade. He assigned me the dirtiest and most arduous tasks. In this manner, I forcibly differentiated into an alpha. Yet, the injection of the transformation agent came too late. I frequently experienced pheromone disruptions, relying on medication to maintain stability. Otherwise, I would find myself, despite being an alpha, suddenly plunged into a heat cycle, unable to be marked. In such circumstances, no one could soothe me. I risked becoming a mindless monster, at the mercy of others. This task proved to be particularly challenging. The opponent was evidently a formidable character. I arrived at the tavern where I had previously worked. The tavern owner was an A-class alpha and a significant subordinate of Chuyu. What organization does the opponent belong to? Just that boy alone. What? I was taken aback. One person had bested a dozen patrons in the tavern? Only an SSS class alpha could achieve such a feat yet. This territory had always belonged to Chuyu, and no alpha of that caliber had emerged in all this time. Therefore, it was highly likely that this individual was a disruptor dispatched by a rival gang. Tasking me with dealing with such a person left me without a fighting chance. If Chuyu was aware of this situation yet still sent me, his intention was not to confront this individual but rather to use him as a means to eliminate me. After all, I had been with him for too long and knew too much. Gritting my teeth, I sent Gu Zheng a message, adopting a tone of subservience for the first time. Gu Zheng, please come back. Can we not be at odds? As long as you refrain from harming others, I can agree to anything. Time was not on my side to slowly seek out Gu Zheng. Before I undertook my mission, I needed to resolve the emotional entanglement with him once and for all. This time, Gu Zheng indeed replied, "You are deceiving me." I sighed and sent a picture of myself with my collar slightly undone. "Isn't this what you desire, to conceal the mark? I will let you try." 8. I stood before the mirror, gazing at my battered physique. Stripped of this undeniably handsome face, I surmised that no one would find such a gaunt body appealing, especially not Gu Zheng. Before my differentiation, he relished holding me while sleeping, stating that I was soft and that he adored delicate omegas. At this juncture, if he were to see this body again, he would undoubtedly loathe it and let go of me. I prepared a feast, all dishes that Gu Zheng loved. Such treatment had only been afforded to him during his childhood. He appeared somewhat taken aback, his Adam's apple bobbing as his gaze fixated on me. "Brother, what is it?" I inquired in a tone of indulgence, setting the dishes down beside him. "If you don't like what I've made, I can prepare something else for you." Suddenly, he embraced my waist, cautiously, as if I were a precious treasure, trembling slightly. He buried his head in my chest, reminiscent of how he would seek to appease me when he misbehaved as a child. I was wrong. Patted his head. "It's all right. I won't hold it against you. As long as you focus on your studies and refrain from causing trouble, I will acquiesce to your every wish." His arms tightened around my waist, and he mumbled an acknowledgement. "Eat slowly." I sat beside him, resting my chin on my hand and gazing at him, exclaiming softly, "How has our Gu Zheng grown up to be so handsome?" He choked slightly, his ears visibly reddening. "Brother, I have something I want to give you." He produced a small velvet box from his coat, revealing a delicate ring. I suppressed the swell of emotion in my eyes as Gu Zheng watched me anxiously, his palms damp with sweat. He seemed taken aback that I would wear it, and his eyes sparkled with joy. "It's beautiful." He enveloped me in a tight embrace, overjoyed, nudging his nose against me. "Brother, will you marry me? I adore you to the point of madness. I will achieve great things in the future, and I will protect you well." I gently pushed him away, locking eyes with his starry gaze. "Gu Zheng, if you cannot mark me, will you let me go?" The atmosphere around us suddenly grew tense. His jaw tightened, and his teeth ground together audibly. "I will definitely be able to cover the mark. Your benefactor is merely an A-class alpha. He cannot compare to me, nor is he worthy of you." "What are you saying? What kind of A-level alpha is this? Has he already met Chuyu?" With a sudden lift, Gu Zheng embraced me, eagerly striding towards the bedroom. Before I could prepare myself, he was upon me, biting and nibbling. "Wait, this rascal is still so impatient." "Ha!" I pushed against him, struggling to breathe, and kicked him away in frustration, glaring at him. "What are you so anxious about? No one is competing with you." Gu Zheng rubbed the spot where I had kicked him, his tone filled with grievance. "I just want to prove myself too much." He leaned in to kiss my forehead while apologizing. "I'm sorry, I will be gentle." The hem of my clothing was lifted by him, and his warm breath whispered in my ear incessantly. "Every day I share a wall with my brother, thinking about you doing naughty things. Do you know? You can hear me, can't you? I've rehearsed this scene hundreds of times. I will make you feel good." This boy, when sulking, wears a cold expression, rebellious to the core. Yet how is he so verbose when it comes to such matters? I turned my head away, feeling uncomfortable and not wanting to listen. I had taken my medication today, so I wouldn't release any pheromones. Gu Zheng was also in high spirits, having grown accustomed to the scent of perfume. Once he realizes he cannot mark me, he will naturally lose interest. "Am I that repulsive to you? How can you relax without inhaling my pheromones?"
Gu Zheng's aggressive gaze met mine.
Sometimes it feels as though he desperately tries to masquerade as a docile puppy. Yet, the possessiveness in his eyes is profoundly terrifying. He is certainly not an obedient fellow. I tried to accept the cold fragrance, since I had already decided to go all out. Before I die, I might as well fulfill Gu Zheng's obsession. Strange, I should be rejecting an alpha's pheromones, yet my body has softened instead. Even my vision has become somewhat blurred. "Shinemo, you like my pheromones. So greedy taking it all in, brother." Gu Zheng fixated on my reaction. Before I could concoct an excuse, he swiftly removed my upper garment. The air thickened for a moment. My heart skipped a beat, and I felt chills coursing through me. This scarred body of mine, he must find it utterly repulsive. Instinctively, I tried to shield myself, but he grasped my wrist. "If you think it's ugly, you can go find someone else." Before I could finish my sentence, I was shocked to see Gu Zheng leaning down carefully to kiss the scars. "Tickles." I frowned, pushing him away. "Shen Montak." His voice sounded strangely off. I cradled Gu Zheng's face, only to discover that he was crying. "Why are you crying?" I feel heartbroken." It felt as though my heart had been swept by something. "It's all my fault for being useless, for allowing you to suffer so much. It's all right." His reaction was genuinely unexpected. I was at a loss for how to comfort the grown-up Gu Zheng, so I leaned in to kiss the corner of his lips. This kiss seemed to awaken the beast slumbering within him. He pinned my wrist down, marking me again and again, his breath hot against my ear. "Brother, Shinemo, I really like you. I love you so much. Thank you for giving me this chance." The first bite was filled with excitement and impatience. The second, tinged with reluctance. "That's enough, don't bite anymore." I managed to speak through gritted teeth, until he realized that no matter how many times he marked me or by what means, even as my consciousness grew hazy and my pupils unfocused, with my nape bleeding from his bites, he still could not mark me. "Shenmo, Shenmo." I vaguely heard him sobbing against my neck. Instinctively, I embraced him like I used to as a child, gently patting him to soothe him. "Brother is here. Why can't I cover the mark? I am clearly an S-level alpha. Brother, I feel so useless." I was already drained of all strength, yet Gu Zheng seemed spurred on. Finally, with eyes reddened, he pressed down on me. "Let us try again, please, brother." It seemed I had fainted from the exertion. Gu Zheng's stamina was extraordinary. I initially thought he would know when to back off, but who would have guessed he was a madman? When I awoke the next day, my throat was hoarse. Yesterday, I had desperately pleaded with him, yet it was to no avail. It was terrifying to think that if I were an Omega, I might have perished beneath him. As I opened my eyes and sat up, my entire body ached unbearably. I had been stabbed multiple times during a chase years ago, Yet this discomfort was unlike anything I had experienced. Rubbing my eyes, I noticed Gu Zhang curled up in the corner, crying. He was indeed a crybaby as a child, and it seemed he had not changed. Gu Zhang. He did not respond. Weak in the knees, I got off the bed and approached him. His fingers, adorned with rings, bore bite marks from where he had gnawed at them, a clear testament to his terrifying possessiveness. Gu Zhang, stop crying, please. He clung to me, sobbing in my ear. I couldn't help but recall his sensual moans from last night. Feeling awkward, I nudged him. Brother, just kill me. What nonsense are you talking? I frowned in displeasure. You can't even mark your own mate. What am I? I averted my gaze, feeling guilty. This was indeed a bit much for him. It's not your fault. My glands are damaged, so it's normal that I can't mark you. He watched as I removed the ring from my finger, his brows twitching. What are you doing? I handed the ring to him. Gu Zhang, you said that if you couldn't mark me, you would let go. He stared at the ring, his expression unreadable, his tone devoid of emotion. Are you going to find your benefactor? I had no benefactor, but explaining this was complicated. I nodded awkwardly. Does he treat you well? What nonsense. I felt a chill run down my spine. Yet, I steeled myself and nodded, even concocting a lie I thought was more perfect. Gu Zhang, I'm planning to live with him. Next week, no, tomorrow I will move out. He gazed at me intently, seemingly lost in thought. Are you going to abandon me? Gu Zhang, after taking care of you for so many years, I'm exhausted too. I want my own life. Besides, I took a deep breath. You can't mark me anyway. If my heat comes, you will be of no use. An omega that has been marked will involuntarily rely on their alpha. Alright, huh? He actually agreed so readily this time? This tactic seems effective. It's best to let him know when to back off. I felt uneasy and cautioned him. After I leave, don't act foolish. You must graduate with excellent results. Alright? Alright. He leaned in and kissed the corner of my eye. Brother, don't worry. His smile was somewhat peculiar. Had he been too severely affected? Gu Zhang was remarkably obedient all day, even taking the initiative to help me pack my things. This was highly unusual, not at all like him. However, I had no time to ponder what was amiss with him, as I soon received my target mission. Tonight at 7 p.m., room 301, XX Hotel. The opponent is an SSS level alpha, just as I had surmised. When dealing with such an alpha, the only option is to find an opportunity to drug them. Close combat is out of the question. Brother, will you miss me? I stood at the door, contemplating how to handle tonight's target, when Gu Zhang wrapped his arms around me from behind, gently sniffing my neck. I bit my lip. No, brother, have you ever had a hint of affection for me? None at all, I replied mercilessly. I could not allow even the slightest sentiment to linger in his heart. Brother, he spoke with a tone laced with self-mockery. Shen Montak, you have a cruel heart. Suddenly, his tone shifted, fingers grazing my lower abdomen. But Shinemo, have you ever considered this? Although I cannot mark you, given the intensity of last night, as long as you are an omega you could conceive. Unless. Warmth pressed against my gland, rubbing gently. His hand ventured towards my waistband. Unless you are not an omega. Fortunately, I am not an omega. After leaving home, I breathed a sigh of relief. With someone like Gu Zhang, a perverse maniac, if I were truly an omega, I would have been pregnant long before today. I had originally intended to fortify my courage with a drink at the tavern before the mission. However, for reasons unknown, the tavern was closed. It was a scene of disarray, and even the tavern owner was unreachable. Surely, that scoundrel from last time hasn't returned to cause trouble again? The owner was quite a decent person. Although he initially felt pity for me, upon learning I was an alpha, he ceased to harbor any other intentions. Knowing I had a younger brother to care for, he always paid me a little extra. Unable to indulge in alcohol, I could only stake out at the hotel in advance. SSS-rated alphas are easily identifiable. I rubbed my sore neck, waiting an entire hour past the planned time before a tall figure finally appeared in the hotel. His aura was formidable, bloodstains on his cuffs. He headed straight for room 301. It was undoubtedly my target. However, from his silhouette, he appeared somewhat familiar. Those broad shoulders, narrow waist, and long legs. I shook my head, chiding myself for allowing such trivial thoughts to distract me during a mission. It was all Gu Zhang's fault. He occupied my mind completely. Room 301 had already been infused with sleeping gas. I calculated the timing and, once the drug took effect, I stealthily entered. Inside, only a bedside lamp illuminated the room. The tall figure lay soundly asleep, completely unguarded. I sighed in relief, thinking it would take some effort to deal with this individual. I never expected that an SSS-rated alpha would be so easily subdued, completely oblivious to the gas. Just as I stood by the bed, poised to strike, I suddenly recognized that face. How could it be Gu Zheng? In that fleeting moment of hesitation, his powerful grip seized my wrist, twisting my arm painfully. I let out a muffled groan as he pinned me beneath him. The tables had turned. He hadn't succumbed to the sleeping gas. This rascal had played me like a fool, lying in wait. Who sent you? Gu Zheng's voice was colder than I had ever heard. He did not recognize me, and understandably so. I was fully armored, my mask revealing only my eyes. Now pinned to the bed, I could discern nothing. Yet I was baffled. How could it be Gu Zheng? How had he offended the underworld boss? All the events of recent days began to connect. Could it be that Gu Zheng's brawls were not mere schoolyard skirmishes but entanglements with that group? If so, the tavern owner had also been caught in his mess. But why would he do such a thing? Not going to speak? A cold object pressed against my neck. It was my small knife. How could I voice an explanation? He would undoubtedly recognize my voice. How would I justify myself? The brother he has longed for, secretly engaged in such treachery? I bit my lip, choosing silence. He could do as he pleased. After all, I had no intention of leaving here alive. Dying at Gu Zheng's hands was preferable to perishing at another's. At least he could claim the credit for it. Perhaps upon graduation, he would ascend the ranks, ideally using my demise to dismantle that group of fugitive stronghold. Are you still unafraid of death? Such a pity, he replied ominously, sending a shiver down my spine. I excel at extracting confessions. I closed my eyes, bracing myself for his torment. Regardless, I would not utter a sound. This was not right. Gu Zheng held the knife but did not stab me. What was his other hand doing? Was this truly a method of coercion? My voice trembled, praying he wouldn't detect the change. Did Chu Yu send you? To my astonishment, he recognized Chu Yu. I let out a muffled groan, my focus entirely on the manipulation of his fingertips. What is your relationship with him? Suddenly, my gland was pinched. Ah! I couldn't suppress my cry, my body trembling and slackening beneath him. It seems you enjoy a thrill, he remarked, clicking his tongue, leaning in to take another bite at my gland. Mumbling, alphas can smell so sweet? What was wrong with Gu Zheng? Faced with someone intent on killing him, he could still engage in such acts. Thankfully, I had not worn perfume today. Otherwise, he could have identified me by scent. Yet, in the next moment, he unexpectedly unfastened my waistband, his palm pressing against my lower back, rubbing heavily a few times, his voice low and sickly. I've indulged you long enough. Are you satisfied now, brother? My pupils trembled, and I gasped for a long moment, struggling to comprehend. Just as I resolved to resist and lift my hand, I felt a chilling sensation around my neck. This time it wasn't the knife but a collar. I've caught you, brother. I turned my head, and in the dim light, Gu Zheng's eyes glowed with a crimson hue, unblinking and brimming with excitement. Gu Zheng, let me explain. My lips, still swollen from last night's encounter and tender, hurt with the slightest touch. In this position, I was entirely subdued. My mind was a whirlpool of confusion. Had he known it was me all along? Why did Gu Zheng conceal his strength before me? An SSS-rated alpha could crush me effortlessly. If he wished, he could force me to do anything. To him, a subpar alpha was no stronger than an omega. You've deceived me so thoroughly, brother. His canines grazed my nape, causing me to shudder. Not only did you deceive me, but you also sought to kill me, all for that gold master of yours? Gu Zheng, please stop biting. I beg you. I didn't mean to deceive you. The bloodstains from last night had barely scabbed. Even the slightest touch sent pain coursing through me. I whimpered and tried to crawl forward, only to be yanked back. Not so fast, he said, his voice icy, a low chuckle escaping his throat. Did you not claim that you were marked for life by your gold master? Brother, teach me how an alpha can be marked for life, It was so dark. Blindfolded, I had been subjected to this brat's torment for what felt like an eternity in an abyssal void. Gu Zheng, release me. Where are we? Can you please stop going insane? I cannot. Gu Zheng's voice seemed tinged with embarrassment. I once thought you had your reasons. He seized my hand, forcing it to touch his wrist. My fingertips brushed against a deep scar, causing me to flinch. What is this? I believed you, brother. I believed your suffering was all my doing. When I realized I could not cover the mark, I had to let go and watch you be ravaged by that bastard. I no longer deserve to live. Brother, you almost didn't get to see me again. As I recalled the bloodstains on his cuffs, a wave of panic washed over me. I extended my trembling arm toward him, initially believing he had harmed another, only to discover that he intended to take his own life. Don't do this, Gu Zheng. You mustn't harm yourself. I am not worth such a sacrifice. You are worthy, but Shinemo is not. I opened my mouth to explain, yet my words were silenced, and I could only shake my head in despair. Are you fabricating excuse after excuse merely to escape me, to rid yourself of this burden? This twisted pervert, who not only placed a collar around my neck but also adorned it with a bell to prevent my escape. Any slightest movement would alert him. Gu Zheng leaned down to adjust my face, reveling in my humiliation, and tugged at the bell. The ring was meant for my brother, yet he rejected it and abandoned me. This one is custom-made for Shinemo, my disobedient wife. I could hear him stifling laughter through gritted teeth. From this moment forth, there will be no brother. Only Shinemo, uncertain of how many times I had lost consciousness. The sheer physical prowess of an SSS-class alpha was terrifying when wielded for such purposes. It was only when I could no longer breathe that he finally released me from my constraints. I gasped for air, feeling feverish, incoherently pleading for mercy. Stop. I am an alpha. I cannot. Alphas can bear children too. Let my brother carry my child. That could be considered a form of marking. It was over. Gu Zheng had utterly lost his sanity. I should have known better than to delay seeking a psychologist for him. Crying, Shinemo, if you were an omega, even a single tear would cause me pain. But you are an alpha. If you possess the strength to kill me for your benefactor, you possess the strength to endure whatever I choose to do to you. I seized upon this statement, realizing the root of his turmoil. I have no benefactor. I never have. An instant silence enveloped the air. I can no longer trust you. As I sensed him becoming unruly again, I hastily pushed him away, seizing the opportunity to clarify. Gu Zheng, not everyone possesses your twisted interests in alphas. Over these many years, you are the only one who has touched me. Are you satisfied now? His eyelashes fluttered, a fleeting look of confusion crossing his eyes. So your naivety was not born of disdain for me? You jerk. Frustration surged within me, and I could not help but curse. My body burned with heat, and even my insults came out weak and feeble. This was decidedly abnormal. The last of the medication that suppressed my disordered pheromones had been consumed. I had not completed my mission nor obtained my next dose from Chuyu. After enduring Gu Zheng's torment for so long, was this state indicative of a heat cycle? A wave of alarm coursed through me, a profound sense of dread spreading. As I tried to rise, Gu Zheng pulled me back into his embrace. Gu Zheng listened to me. I covered his mouth to prevent him from biting me. I never intended to hurt you. I did not know it was you yesterday. His dark gaze bore into me, his grip painfully tight. My vision blurred before me. In the future, I will clarify everything, but I must return to report. Report to whom? For what purpose? Gu Zheng's voice turned cold once more. Shen Montak, what have you been doing behind my back all these years? Gu Zheng, I cannot be with you. I would ruin you. The unbearable heat coursing through me was tormenting. I craved the calming effect of the cool, soothing fragrance, yet it merely served as a fleeting remedy. Gu Zheng, your interest in me can remain as a passing fancy. You cannot marry me. A passing fancy? His forehead pulsed with veins, his breath heavy as he gripped the nape of my neck, punishingly rubbing against it. Perhaps it was due to my disordered state, but I found myself unable to endure even the slightest pain. I lifted my head, unable to stifle my sobs. This took him aback. Gu Zheng, my brother is a villain. He cannot share a lifetime with you. He carried me to the hospital where I curled up, trembling. Shinemo, so you were meant to be an omega? I nodded. Throughout the journey, I had unwittingly divulged everything that should have remained unsaid. The doctor's words echoed in my ears. What a tragedy. How many black market transformation agents has this child injected into himself? Such substances can only induce pseudo-transformation and cause significant harm to the body.
Pseudo?
I stared blankly at the doctor. You have been deceived. If these substances were effective, there would be no omegas left in this world. With each statement from the doctor, Gu Zheng's grip tightened even further. And you have been consuming suppressants all this time, leaving you unable to release any pheromones. How distressing that must have been. I've only been taking suppressants? The doctor looked at me with pity, as if I were a fool, then cast a disdainful glance at Gu Zheng. Your Omega partner appears to possess no common sense. How could you allow yourself to be bullied to such an extent and remain unaware? Gu Zheng's expression darkened, a mix of anguish and furrowed brows. I gently smoothed his brow, patting his head. The best treatment is for the partner to accompany him through a heat cycle, and ideally, he should never consume those medications again. Upon returning home, I was still somewhat dazed until Gu Zheng held me in his lap. He prepared a nutritious meal for me, his eyes reddening with concern as he noticed my distracted demeanor. Brother. Instinctively, I reached to wipe away his tears. Why are you calling me brother again? Did you not say you would no longer acknowledge me? I was wrong. You may hit me if you wish. He pressed his face into my palm. How could I bring myself to strike him? What would I hit you for? After all, it took so much effort to raise you into such a handsome man. What if I damaged you? I sighed. He lifted the exquisite meal and brought it to my lips, his face filled with compassion. From now on, I will take care of my brother. I did not open my mouth, feeling a surge of nausea. After all, it was Gu Zheng's first attempt at cooking for me, and I ultimately forced myself to take a bite. My stomach churned. The emotional roller coaster of these past few days had likely taken its toll. Just then, a call came through. I turned my head slightly to avoid taking another bite. The moment I saw the caller's name, Gu Zheng's expression changed. It was the tavern owner. Put it on speaker. His tone was unfriendly. What was this guy up to now? Reluctantly, I activated the speakerphone. A cacophony of curses erupted from the other end. Damn it, Shinemo. If you find me displeasing, just say so. I was bewildered. What are you talking about? That punk came and wrecked the place again. This time sending over a dozen of my brothers to the hospital. I've been bedridden for half a month. Guess who I found out he is? I swallowed hard, glancing at Gu Zheng. Who? Damn it. It's your good-for-nothing brother. I felt a pang of guilt. Did you not tell him? I paid for his tuition, and I even gifted him a transformer. He came in swinging without a word, like a superhero. It was a misunderstanding. I will have him apologize to you another day. Forget it. Just don't let me see him again. The thought of it makes me uneasy. That kid fights like he has a death wish, as if he were trying to steal my wife. My lips twitched as I hung up the call, looking at Gu Zheng in disbelief. He averted his gaze. Did I hit the wrong person? You struck the only good person. I'm sorry, I thought he was the benefactor you mentioned. I chuckled softly. He is the uncle transformer you spoke of during your childhood. Gu Zheng appeared somewhat embarrassed. I adjusted his face, my expression turning serious once more. Gu Zheng, I have never had a benefactor. I only serve Chuyu. I can explain your situation to him, but he will never let me off. I am far too ensnared. If you remain with me, your career will be ruined. Do you understand? I genuinely do not care about any career. I smacked his head lightly. I have painstakingly nurtured you to this point so that you may thrive in a better environment and lead a fulfilling life. Do not let yourself be dragged down by me. I want to be dragged down with you. He embraced me tightly, inhaling deeply. Are you angry with me? My voice trembled. Yet, he produced a piece of paper and held it before me. Upon reading the words, I was momentarily taken aback. Warrant for capture. Gu Zheng affectionately kissed me. It states that we are to deal with Chuyu, and I have been sent to assist, not to suspend my studies. When I encountered Chuyu once more, he was half-conscious, being ushered into a police vehicle. From a distance, it seemed he caught sight of me, as I was cradled in Gu Zheng's arms. I felt insignificant, a mere ant, unable to make my own choices and coerced into actions. For reasons unknown, everything I had been forced to do under his duress had been erased. Gu Zheng was not capable of such a feat, so it could only have been Chuyu's doing. Our eyes met, devoid of anger or resentment, just a faint furrow of his brow, much like the way he had found me years ago, faint from hunger. Child, choose to be my Omega partner or my dog. What is the difference? He lit a cigarette, exhaling languidly. The difference is that an Omega suffers no hardships. You will live comfortably, but you will die. The dog will toil, yet I will not let you perish. I chose to be the dog, for I did not wish to die. I wanted to witness Gu Zheng grow, to see him marry and have children, to live a life of happiness. He gazed at me intently, the scar on his brow rendering him formidable. Very well, rise. From now on, you shall never go hungry again. I will protect you. I realized then that my way of protecting others was learned from Chuyu. Chuyu had someone he cherished, yet I had never laid eyes on them. Gu Zheng, how will they execute Chuyu? By firing squad, Gu Zheng replied coldly. From afar, Chuyu glanced at the person beside me before withdrawing his gaze, as if contemplating his own regrets. The fierce figure I remembered seemed to finally crumble, severing all ties from that moment onward. Gu Zheng's temper was undoubtedly a trait he would carry for life. Did I not say we would marry after your graduation? I remarked, staring at the marriage certificate he had coerced me into obtaining, feeling a slight headache. No, brother. His face nestled against my chest, greedily inhaling my scent. I could not fathom what was so appealing about my rigid demeanor. Every heat cycle is so intense. I never know when it will strike. I fear you will abandon me, that you will run off with someone else. Where did he learn such words? You've tried on the ring, the collar, the marriage certificate. How could I escape? If you do not love me, I can never truly bind you. He leaned closer, his eyes glistening with feigned tears. Brother, have pity on me. Love me, will you? I desire not just your body, but your heart as well. In the past, I believed Gu Zheng, despite his fierce appearance, was fundamentally my little crybaby. Whenever he played the victim, I would grant him anything he wished. Yet now, I finally saw him for what he truly was, a perverted wolf in sheep's clothing, shamelessly employing this tactic. Do not try that with me. I pushed his face away, my breath quickening under the allure of his pheromones. When have I ever not loved you? He paused, his manufactured tears dripping onto my collarbone. What did you say? I awkwardly turned my face away. I am your childhood wife. Once you grow up and endure enough hardships, what energy would you have left to love another? Then you claim you've never liked me. Who could have anticipated that my husband would grow up to be such a ruffian and a pervert? Is it too late for me to regret? My mouth was silenced, this time by a kiss imbued with tears, salty and warm. It is too late. You were born to be my wife. Absurd. You raised me. Gu Zheng whined as he snuggled against me. Besides, I was nurtured by you. I should be your childhood husband, and you must take responsibility for me. Having already marked each other for life, what more could he desire? Perhaps it was best to cherish the husband I had raised myself. The end. Thank you for listening. I look forward to our next story together.